What's the deal, family? Welcome to another episode of Sips of Success. This is our third episode, and I am Cameron. This is my beautiful wife.
Aaron, what's
How
up, y'all?
How are you today?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good. We are
Cheers.
cheersing with a little tea because
Mint tea.
we got some tea for
We're
you today.
sipping on some tea, baby. You gotta say sipping on. What are we sipping on?
I'm still trying to get it right.
He's gotta get the branding right.
Work with me here.
Jeez.
She's work with me here.
Anyway, this is mint tea, which we usually have pretty often. And also, we won't just be sipping on alcohol every episode. Just because, like, we don't actually drink that much.
Yeah,
so,
it's
but
not conducive.
tea ties into the tea that we're about to spill about us.
I think we have a lot of tea coming in some of these near episodes, but that's what she likes to say. So
yeah,
we're gonna spill the tea on us.
But first,
first,
this or that. Would you rather have in the same environment relationship where you both live in the same city, so it's convenient in terms of space, but you feel like you're settling, or it's inconvenient in terms of space or proximity where it's a long distance relationship, but it's like everything you love. So like maybe you can only see this person once a month. So inconvenient in terms of like the person, like the relationship is kind of settling, but it's convenient in terms of proximity, or inconvenient in terms of proximity, but the person is amazing.
I feel like second option has been my like go-to so far.
I know.
I'm going to go with the second option. I prefer to have what I would deem as the right partner versus the partner that I'm just settling for just because it's convenient.
Mm-hmm.
So
I also feel like the space option is more temporary because 9 times out of 10, at some point, someone's going to make the sacrifice to move. However, sometimes that can bring its own set of issues if both parties don't want to move.
But are you really locked in? If it's bringing an issue, are you locked in for real?
That's true. Because I would probably go with the second option too, which is funny. I can't wait for the this or that we actually disagree. Because we pretty much agree on all of these so far. But I do personally feel like, because we were long distance for a while.
Yeah. And
it wasn't easy. But in terms of like us seeing each other, that just made the moments that we saw each other so much better.
Yeah.
So it wasn't horrible.
From that point of view though, like the times we do see each other, it was rarely like a bad time. Yeah. Because you're so excited, but you're having more fun than... I mean, the point is to have fun, but you may be having too much fun and not focusing on what you may need to focus on if you want to elevate your relationship to, I guess, the next level.
Yeah. But I think overall, like, I won't say any sensible person, but like the second option. No, a lot of people are like, I can't deal with long distance. Yeah. Like if I could get a person who meets me at like a 70% or like, is like, almost kind of what I want them to be, then I'll be cool with that. Because I'd rather deal with that than deal with not being in the same space. So, I mean, let us know what you guys would do, who you would pick.
That's this or that. Speaking of long distance relationships and relationships in general.
Cameron is so funny, y'all, because he always tries to like segue the this or that. And the topic we're talking about sometimes
has nothing to do with
this. Correlate with
I've been trying to think of what I can say.
He'll be like, speaking of, like, just go back and watch the last 2 episodes. He's gonna say the same thing. Speaking of such and such and such, and tries to like draw this line between the this or that and like the thing we're actually talking about. Man, listen, y'all,
I'm definitely not a speaker, so I just got a little formula. I don't think it may or may not be working. I guess you can let me know.
You're doing great, babe. If you know Cameron, then you know that he has not ever been really comfortable on camera, and this has been the most comfortable you've been. I'm so happy and proud of you for just stepping out of your shell and just becoming more like willing to get better at it, because you've been doing good.
Thank you for the compliment.
So
I'm trying.
Love that for you.
I'm definitely trying. I don't know. I have to be organized in some type of way to kind of get through things in life.
Yeah.
So I think that's what I'm just doing.
Yeah. But anyway, today we're talking about what?
We're just talking about us. How did we get started?
And our breakup.
We almost broke up.
Yeah.
She almost left your boy.
I did.
You know, just kind of getting to know us as we're starting this new journey. Also, I know that we know that Erin has her business and marketing channel and all those things. And I know that some people don't get a chance to kind of really get to know who she is outside of the business part. Yeah. But she got a little spice to her,
and I
man.
was telling him that I think this is such a good platform for us because a lot of the perception that people have of me is true, but there's also more to me than just that, you know? Yeah. And that's the thing about being the face of a brand is that you end up kind of taking heed to what it shapes to be. And like, that's the part that you mainly show. So even if I did show like 20% of this side of me on my channel, it's still like this gives me the opportunity to just share a whole nother side of myself, which I think is cool because we'll get to talk about like things that I just don't talk about on my channel. Yeah. So today, yes, we're talking about our story mostly and more so focusing on the breakup part of it because we almost just weren't where we are. And I will take it back to when we first met. We instantly had chemistry, but we never took the step to like becoming more than friends.
I never took the step.
And when we first met, like we had a really solid friendship, you know? Like both of us were, I won't say we were dating, but like we were single, but then we went to prom together and he had a girlfriend.
I had a girlfriend, but I didn't know that I'd have her again by the time we got.
So he asks me to go to his prom, y'all. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like, I like him. He's cool. He's nice. He's cute. He checked all the high school boxes. But then we get to prom, and he's all up in this other girl's
I ain't gonna say I was all in her face now.
Okay, but I could tell there was something there.
Oh, for
like,
sure.
You weren't all up in my face.
I gave you attention.
You not as much as I would have expected.
I also had to get you home at a certain time too, so.
Anyway, so there was that. Like, that was the first little hiccup. And then we went off to, I left for school. I went to Howard University in Washington, D.C. So.
Well, that was my senior year. You still had another year in high school.
Yeah, I had another year of high school, but then I went away to school. And at that point, we were also still kind of like friends, but kind of liked each other, but like.
We liked each other.
We always liked each other, but like we were friends that knew we liked each other, but couldn't really like act on it. Cause I just was always the type of girl who I'm like, I don't want to give too much before I receive more of what my standard is, you know? Like I'm not about to just give, and I don't feel like I'm getting it in return. So go off to college, then I start dating someone.
Was that like your sophomore year?
Yeah, that was my sophomore year.
Your freshman year, we still talked every day. Yeah.
And then you started dating someone too. I don't know, one of them years. College? Yeah. So as soon as I would break up with, like, as soon as I was out of a relationship, he was in a relationship. When he was out of a relationship, I was in a relationship.
No. It was just... So I did started dating someone, I think my sophomore year, but your freshman year. Mm-hmm. But it didn't last long. But that same girl, my junior year, we rekindled our relationship. And yeah, Erin took the backseat to that again too.
And I was just like, what is happening? Because we had chemistry, like, y'all, we really liked each other. But I just kept feeling like he was choosing other people over me. And I'm like, what is it about me that you're just not choosing me? And that made me, I won't say insecure, but it just made me wonder, like, what is it? Like, am I not doing something? Am I not his type fully? I was just wondering, but I knew those things weren't true because of the chemistry that we had. So anyway, eventually both of us were single, and I had went to study abroad in South Africa, and at that time,
I was still in a relationship when you went away.
Yes, he was still in a. Oh yeah, you were. Yeah. He was still in a relationship, and I was talking to someone, but it just didn't go anywhere. I was like,
who are you talking to?
I don't think I ever told you that.
No, you for sure ain't telling me. I'm learning something new with y'all here.
I was talking to this guy, but it didn't go anywhere. He was way more into me than I was into him. Like,
oh yeah, you
it was just not. It was not a fit at all. But anyway, that's not the point. So I sent Cameron an email, and I'm like,
this a long email, y'all.
Because at that point, when you're away for that long, I was gone for 6 months, and it was just me and my friend Sierra, and I was like starting to reflect on our relationship, and I was just like, I felt like I didn't leave in a way that was truly representative of me as a person, but also just like, I don't feel like I gave us a chance, you know, because I kept like being so nitpicky about
everything.
Yeah, about everything because I wasn't getting what I wanted out of the relationship, which was a relationship.
Yeah.
So I was just like so in my head while we were together, or like while we were talking and friends, that I didn't fully, I was just felt like when I was in Cape Town, I was like, oh, I wish I could call him and like tell him that I just like pet elephants or went skydiving or whatever.
Like our regular conversations that we always had.
Yeah.
Like when we met.
It just felt like something was missing out of my life. So I sent him an email, a long email, and you can take it from there.
She sent, first of all, man, okay. Me and Aaron have been best friends since the time that we met. Although we both, I would say, wanted a relationship, her more than me when we first met, just simply because I just didn't understand what the feeling was. But that's neither here nor there. Anyway.
They always say that, y'all.
I didn't
know what I was feeling, so I just resisted it all. Like, what sense does that make?
I mean, listen.
I mean, in hindsight, I'm glad
it
you
worked.
did.
It worked, right?
But still.
But
it doesn't make sense.
The reality is that no matter what, like, she always had a place in my heart. Like, she always, like, she's been held right here forever. It's like, no matter what. We also have a joke that or a hypothetical situation that we can kind of bring up at the end that we always joke or talk about. But I was still in a relationship. She sent me this long email, and I'm thinking like, man, the girl got my number. Why would she send me this email? And because the time difference, it was 2 or 3 in the morning, like here in Detroit. Mm-hmm. And I think it was like daytime over there. And I was actually with the girl that I was dating at the time. She was at my house, and I had to get up to take her home. And I'm looking at this email before I like wake her up, and I'm like, yo, did something happen? I'm like literally like stuck, and then I had to
endangered.
Yeah, because I'm like this subject is not adding up. Like the math ain't mathing on the subject. But I read the first little paragraph. I was like, oh no, she cool. And then I waited till the next day when I went to class to read it and then to respond. But by this time, and we kind of skipped over a lot of things, kind of sort of. But
over time, we can like dive into more of
those things,
like just
how we've gone.
High level.
Yeah, by this time, I had kind of start becoming into my grown man in a way. Mm-hmm. And because she was genuinely just my friend, like really my best friend for real. Like it's still, even at that time, it's still things that I had told her that I still have never told anyone else. So it's just like, Aaron is like, here with me. Like we've been locked in for a long time. So I get to school, I get to class the next morning, I respond, and I respond more so in like a friendly way.
Yeah. Like, because I genuinely didn't know if he was going to respond, because I wouldn't say we left things in a terrible state, like an unreconcilable way.
From your side, it was kind of terrible. From my side, I was like, well, I don't know what she wants from me, because like you had like these expectations that how do I know what your expectations are? You never like announced them. So it was kind of like, oh, he didn't show up to my like. It wasn't
what I wanted, but I didn't know how to communicate that. He wasn't I didn't know how to communicate how he could be more of what I needed.
Was looking for.
Yeah. So I didn't know if he would respond, but he ended up responding the next day. And I was so happy. But for me, it was more so about like, I just want us to be back to what we once were. Of course, I was like, I would love for us to be together. Like, I won't be naive and say that
you had some intentions.
I had absolutely no desire for us to be together.
She had some intentions.
But at the core, I wanted us to have a healthy, good relationship. So anyway, I think that the friendship helped us through a lot of things moving forward, because we were able to get through that part, the long distance, but also just like once we were together, it was like we did hit a rough patch.
We didn't actually start dating until 4 years after we met.
Yeah.
So after she got back from Cape Town, like
my
that
senior year
fall,
of college.
it's when we started dating. But I didn't date her until like I had to like make her understand like, no, I'm not like the same person when I was 17 versus 22.
Yeah.
Like it's just too many things that I had learned, and I didn't want to feel like I was leading her on again. I had realized that I had been leading her on, so I was just like, I'm not gonna do that again.
And that was the part that bothered me, because I'm like, you act like you like me. It's not that
I did like you.
Yeah, and it was like, it's not that I'm the crazy one. I'm not the one who likes him so much and he doesn't like me back. He likes me back. I don't understand why he's not committing to me. Like, why you kept going in other directions. And
Great
I'm
things
just
take
like,
time. Great
what
things take
is
time.
wrong with him? But anyway, but we ended up getting together, and then
The
it
first
was
year was
good.
cool.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
good.
2016 was cool.
The first year, we were still
Yeah.
excited. You know, things are great. And then
2017
life
was
hit
rough.
in 2017.
No, end of 2016. Like December of 2016 is when my life started getting rough.
Yeah. Which
Not
in
your
turn
life, not
made
like our life
relationship get rough.
Yeah.
So in 2016, do you want to kind of, you don't have to go through the details, but just in general, like.
Basically, like I was flourishing in school. So at this point, I'm in college I'm on my, getting my second, my engineering degree. So I'm like flourishing through college all these years. And this particular semester, I'm like about to fail. Long story short, there's a class that you have to take. You don't show up to class. You do this project, and at the end, you show up to the professor's office and you present it. Basically, I got an F. And if you get an F in the College of Engineering, you have to wait like a year and a half just to take the class over again, which means I would have been in school for another year and a half. Yeah. So that was that. That started the whole the
spiral.
Yeah, I was just it was like not great.
That was the kickoff.
Yeah. So the result of that was I ended up getting a C. Now I had a partner. This is the first time I had a partner in college, and he actually failed the class, and I don't know how I got this 73%.
It was God.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it had to be. Like, there's no other. The man told me I failed, so I don't know.
I don't know if he miscalculated your grade.
I have zero idea. Anyway,
we don't ask no questions.
Yeah,
that type of
kept on going. Graduated. No, now it's my graduating semester. My mom gets cancer, and I think January was cool.
She's also fine.
She's also good. But, yeah, she's good. But my mom gets cancer, and that kind of just rocked my world. Like, it kind of like. I had like this thing of where I wanted to be perfect, and I think I needed to live up to everybody else's expectation that they had on me, and I just, had to be like this perfect being. And my mom getting cancer, that just knocked me right on my butt. So, as a result, Aaron got
I took the heat.
The heat because no one else really knew. Like, I'm always smiling. No one was really paying attention, but like she knew whatever I was going to give out, she got, and I still wasn't very expressive for like 6 months. No, she showed up. She surprised me to like my graduations. Showed her no attention.
I was really trying because I also knew that he was in a very just not.
I wasn't me. I wasn't being me.
Him. And I was like, I'm just going to try to do whatever I can to like make him happy and just help.
She was doing a good job.
And it was just, it felt like it was just not working. Like I felt like I was just trying, like kind of just like, I don't know.
You were trying, but I feel like there was nothing that anyone could do other than my mom getting well. And it wasn't until she became well that I was like, oh no, like I've been tripping. Yeah. But also in that time, I started talking to like other girls, not like getting in it was just kind of like abusing I was just out here, man. Like just, I don't know. It's like one of those things where you got to get it off your chest type of thing. And, I don't regret it though, because I feel like for so long I had been so like strict and straightforward on everything in life that sometimes I feel like you may need a moment like that.
And to also realize that you don't feel any better when you get that low, and when you just kind of let yourself go.
But it felt worse because no one else knew but you.
Yeah.
So it's not like I had a whole bunch of like comfort around me, and you were in DC, so
I was working in DC at the time.
Yeah, so it's just like I'm really at home thugging it by myself. Everybody else thinks everything is all Gucci, and Erin is not only taking the heat, but she's also the only one who knows anything that is like going on just with me.
Yeah. So fast forward a little bit, he finds out he passes the class. He finds out his mom is good.
We're like in August. And I'm graduated. I didn't even enjoy my graduation.
Things are moving forward, but we get to the holidays. Well, he apologizes. And
I apologize in like August.
Sorry for the inconvenience, basically. And I'm like, well, thanks. But the apology didn't really live up to the damage. I won't.
Yeah.
It really wasn't damage, but you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Like it was just kind of like a casual apology.
I basically should have came back real strong.
Yeah, he should
because it
have
really
come back strong because it really took a toll on me too.
Yeah.
Even though I understood like what you were going through, it really
Yeah.
like was a lot. So come December, when I come home for Christmas, and Cameron, I text him, I'm like, hey, I'm on my way home. Like, you're going to be at the house when I get there, basically. And he's like, oh, I'll see you on Christmas Eve or something.
But I'm like, just joking.
I'm like, oh, absolutely. Like, I went ballistic because I'm like, after all of this from this year, and like, you can't even be decent enough to come over my house when I arrive. Like, what is, like, I was furious. And on top of that, it was just all of the build up from the year that just kind of fell on that one moment.
Yeah.
And of course, like when I was feeling things, I didn't want to just tell you because you already had enough on your plate. I knew that there was really nothing you could do about it in the moment, or even had the desire to do about in the moment. So it was just kind of like at that time when everything kind of seemed to have somewhat passed over, and for you to still seem like you were, like, it just gave me flashbacks of what had been happening over that year. And I'm like, oh no. So we had this big blow up on the phone. And he was like, I was going to come over. I was just joking. And I was like, you're not taking initiative. I feel like everything we do is like, I'm leading. Like, I'm the one who's like making this work and making it, you know, like I'm the only one who wants this. Like, I was just really feeling like the weight of our relationship was on me.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know, like I need you to initiate more. And so you had said when we were on that call, you were like, I booked a flight already to come to DC for MLK weekend, and it was going to be a surprise. And I was like, you're saying that now because I'm telling you this. Like, you know how when you say something, when you file a complaint and then they be like, well, I was already going to do that. I'm like, yeah, sure. Like, you know.
I really did though. I had to show her like, no, I booked this already. Like, I'm thinking we cool.
We were in fact not cool. So yeah, so we ended up, he ended up coming to DC MLK weekend. So we ended up going to DC. He ended up coming to DC on MLK weekend. And I was like, I am going to make him so uncomfortable to where he talks. Because that has always been Cameron's biggest thing. He tries to figure everything out in his mind and he won't say it. And I'm like, I need you to talk to me. If we're going to be in a relationship, I can't be the only one who brings up the tough conversations, who is the one who's kind of like, you know, really vocalizing things. And when he got there, I used to come, because he would visit me all the time. I would go downstairs. I lived in a really nice apartment building, and I would come downstairs.
Greet me at the door.
I would greet him at the door, big hug, big kiss. You
Like
know, we would go up like to my apartment and just, you know, we'd be vibing out.
This time,
send him up.
No, I get there.
Front desk, send them up. I ain't coming down.
No. Get to the day. We're barely like even texting. Like we're not. Usually if I'm coming,
the energy was totally different.
She's like too excited. She's like, can't wait till I get off the plane. The first few times
she even met me at the airport.
Like crazy energy. Like she's happy I'm there. Yo, this time, bruh.
Send him up.
She told them, hey, he's coming. Like send him up. I get up to at this point, like. I've been there so many times. Like at this point, it's just like, all right, whatever. But I'm like, I go up. She opens the door. No hug. She opens the door, turns around, walks to the kitchen, and I'm just like,
to the bathroom.
No, to the kitchen, and then back to the back. After I put my suitcase to the side, like where her like bed and stuff was, she walked back past me. Just went to the bathroom, starts getting ready because she's like, oh yeah, we got a dinner reservation. So I'm like. All right. Yeah. Like, that's what she said. So I'm like, okay.
So I booked the loudest restaurant in DC. It had a live band.
The loudest.
Because I didn't want to talk through the dinner. And I'm like, we're going out to dinner, whatever. Like, still wanted to do stuff. But just, you know, I wanted you to just feel how I was feeling to some extent, but also to just feel, I wanted you to just feel uncomfortable, not even how I was feeling. Because in that moment, I wasn't actually
Feeling
as
anything.
upset as I was making you feel that I was, because I still, like, obviously loved you and had feelings for you and wanted it to work. But I needed you to understand that we weren't going to work if you didn't talk.
Right.
So if I didn't want to set the standard that I was always going to be the one who has to bring things up. So the only way I could get you to do that is if I made you feel how I made you feel. So we go to this really loud restaurant called JoJo. It was like a soul food spot that had like live band.
She gets some wine. The only thing she asked me that night at the restaurant was like, "Do you want some wine too?" Just like that.
We didn't talk the entire dinner.
I didn't even finish my dinner, and if you know me,
he eats all his food.
I always eat all my food, no matter where we go. Just about
very quickly too.
But bro, she drank her wine. She ate her food. I didn't eat my food, and I didn't get any wine.
So we get back to my apartment. And I turned the TV on because I'm like, well, I'm just going to wait. I was not budging. I'm like, I know exactly what I'm going into this entire weekend. Like, I had one motive, was to get you to talk. And I was not stopping until I did.
And it worked.
And then he grabbed the remote and turned the TV off and was like, we just need to talk, Erin. And I was like, yes. I was like, I did it. We did it, Joe. So I was just so happy. And like, it was the biggest talk of our entire relationship.
It was the best talk we've ever, I would even say to date. I mean, just because we don't have to have a talk like that again, but to date, the best talk we had that it basically made us.
It was a relationship.
It was either it was gonna make or break what we had going on.
And Cameron actually had a friend who lived in DC, and he was like, "Hey, bro."
Yeah, I had to tell him. I was like,
"We don't make it. I gotta stay at your crib."
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know how this gonna go today, but yeah.
So, but I mean, I think overall we needed that, and in that talk, we just laid everything out on the table. Like, I did not hold back. You did not hold back. It was just like,
well, you never really held back, but this was also my first opportunity to kind of tell you, like, even though you think that because you talk the most, it hasn't always been the right things to say. So like,
or the right way to say
it. So like in that conversation, we like kind of really hashed it out, and I just took the opportunity, even though she was the one mad, I just took the opportunity to kind of say like, you know, if we gonna do this, basically like, you ain't been doing everything all right either. I appreciate what you have done, but how you talk to me has to change. And it's not to say Erin talked to me crazy. Like, she's not crazy. Like, she's not one of these off the hinge type of women. But like, I have to be taught to a certain way just to like open up, like to kind of respond in a way that she was looking for.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, I just explained to her like, basically, yeah, you're talking, you're asking questions, but you're not doing those things correctly in order for me to open up, which is something that you're looking for.
Yeah.
But we had this great conversation, and
it was lots of tears on my part.
Yeah,
I was just crying like a baby. And it wasn't that I think that we needed that because that set the tone for the rest of our relationship. It was really a time for us to set our expectations, make them very clear to each other.
Yeah.
And I don't think we had done that beforehand.
Not
it was
for
just
real.
like, we like each other a lot. We even love each other. But it was just like, how do we fit together? You know, how do we make sure
I think we had conversations,
sense?
but it had never transpired into the super adult conversations that I feel like we needed to have.
Yeah.
To help mold just to even get to where we are now.
Yeah.
But it's crazy, like, we had this amazing conversation, and maybe we might dive into it some other time, but like the next day, because of like the foundation that we created just from just being friends, like really great friends, we woke up the next day and like, it's like as if I just got off the plane. She was super excited.
We went to Orange Theory that morning, and my eyes were burning from crying.
Because we didn't go to sleep till like
4.
3 or 4 o'clock. And we worked out. Did we walk to Orange Theory or did we run to Orange? We walked.
I can't remember.
I think we walked.
But I just remember feeling like so much lighter after that. Yeah. Because it's never a right time to have those types of conversations. It's never the perfect time. So it's always best to just have them when you feel them, or at least give yourself a couple of days, but not to let it build up like over a long period of time. And I just remember after that, moving forward, feeling like the tables had turned and you had then started taking more initiative and like being the boyfriend that I wanted,
for,
that I wanted and felt that like you could be.
Yeah.
And I then felt like I wasn't the one like dragging the relationship along, like, come on, babe. Like it just didn't feel like that anymore. And
Wait, don't make it
after
seem
that,
like I just ain't do nothing though. Cause I
no,
don't
you
want,
did do things. You
I don't
did
want
do
them thinking
things.
like I just was like.
No. He was I wouldn't have given him the time of day if he just wasn't doing.
I wasn't just out here just wasting her time.
That year of all of the things, just like I needed at least a year of us feeling like really, really good.
But it's crazy because we did create our first business literally the next day.
Yeah.
Because like I did all those things that they kind of tell you to do. Like they say, become a doctor, a lawyer, or an engineer. I chose the engineer route, and I had told Aaron like time before, I'm like, man, I got this good job, graduated, even top of my class, like all these things. I don't feel fulfilled. Like I want something else to do. And we had already had that conversation, but like because we ran into her little hissy fit, as you can call it, that kind of created the space the next day after that day to start something that I feel like we didn't realize that. I feel like that first business kind of created the pathway or lane for even you to get started with what you were doing. Kind of gave, I think, back end encouragement, because even by the time you weren't super encouraged, but I feel like the fact that we started something kind of gave like I can do something.
Yeah.
Type of feel, even though you were backed into like I don't have a choice at this point. I don't have a job.
I literally fell into it. But yeah, we started Black and Gold and it did really well like when we first started it. And then I think exactly that. Like it helped give me some confidence to start airing on demand. And even now we're like, every time we talk about Black and Gold, we're like, we're gonna bring it back. But we're not even gonna say nothing. We're just gonna drop it one day.
And let it do what it do.
And then let's see what happens. But I and even at that point, it was kind of, someone could look at that and be like, why would y'all do that? Like right after.
Well, no, let's talk about it though, because your parents, your parents didn't know, but your parents, when we started,
a little like,
no, they weren't a little. They were like, you doing
sure?
What?
Yeah.
They weren't on board with that.
Yeah, they weren't the happiest about that.
Yeah, no.
But I just felt so confident in us.
Yeah.
And I knew our relationship better than anyone, obviously. So I do think it takes a very high level of discernment to make that type of decision, because you don't want to get into business with a partner that you aren't sure is going to be someone that you are going to be with forever.
I just really think that's a testament to like the friendship that we built though. And I really know that we had really built a foundation before we even got to this point. Like we knew who each other was before even getting to that point. So it was just like, oh, we're gonna knock this out the park.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then obviously she didn't break up with me, but she almost did.
But what do you say to someone who is in a situation like that, where they feel like they're with someone who they want to be with, but it's not quite looking like how they envision it? And I know we talk a lot about not marrying or not being with someone for the potential. Yeah. But to an extent, you do have to see some type of something. Like for me, it was, I saw that you came from a great family. I knew that you were a great person to the core. But there were some things, and even for me, like vice versa, there were some things that I had to work on too. But it's like, what is it that differentiates someone that you can give that chance to versus someone who is not worth that chance?
Right. I don't think I like giving advice in an advice kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
I like to use myself as just an example as to take what you hear or take what you get from that and you put it to how it fits to what maybe you have going on. And if it doesn't fit, leave it alone. So I wouldn't say it's advice, but I would say for me, definitely don't marry someone's potential. Because if I married her when we got married, I was fine with where she was. When Erin started her business, I had like this very irrational confidence. I'm like, yeah, go ahead. I'm like saying stuff like, yeah, I got us. Meanwhile, I'm not really thinking about what marriage would cost in terms of like your mortgage and all those different things. But I'm like, yeah, I got us. We're going on little dates. This ain't nothing. I'm still in that time. I'm like still in that like dating time, even though I'm like leading towards the marriage part. But even then, I'm just like, we cool. Like, go ahead, try out what you're going to try out. Like, you know, just kind of, like, I really believed that much in her, not knowing what would be what. I always did. But the one thing I told Aaron was I need to see you do you. I don't, like, we good. Like, I'm not going anywhere. I need to see you do you. Like, I need you to prove to me that you can do you. We always gonna be us. Obviously, we didn't know each other. Like, now, even to this point, I'm going on 13 years. Like, I don't know what else at that time that I need to show you or you need to show me in terms of us. Mm-hmm. Clearly, we keep either coming back to each other, or at that point, once we were together, we never broke up. Yeah. So it was just like, do you? Yeah. Like, I got us from here, do you? And now, shoot, she got us.
I think for me, I love that what you said about if not marrying for potential, because if you can't deal with, or if you can't see yourself with someone, if they never changed from who they are today, then it's just,
you have to be okay with that.
It's gonna get, you have to be okay with who they are now. But if you can't see yourself being with them, if they never changed, that never changing is going to get worse over time.
Well, it's not going to get worse because the person doing the actions is getting worse. It's getting worse because
it's still happening.
They never tapped into the potential that you thought they were going to tap into. So it's just like, she tapped into a potential that I knew that she could, versus had I married her and she just never did.
And vice versa.
Yeah, like.
And I feel like for both of us, if we never saw any signs of growth or change, then it wouldn't have worked.
It wouldn't have worked.
Because both of us had evidence that we were trying, you know?
Yeah.
And it was something that we needed to see for more than a couple weeks. Yeah. It was like, I need to know that this is who you are.
We made it to a lifestyle. It was a lifestyle. It turned into a lifestyle. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And that you want this for you.
Yeah.
So that to me is like what I would say, if
that's the main
you are
thing.
With someone who you think they have it in them, but what if they don't? You know, like, are you willing to live with that?
I think that it's, you know, if you're gonna be with something based on their potential, none of that matters if you never started. Mm-hmm. For whatever the potential that you see in that person, if they never begin whatever that is, it's never going to matter. And then 50 years, 20 years down the line, 20, 30, whatever it is, you're going to be, I feel like, I'm gonna just keep it a buck. We see a whole bunch of people that you married for 20, 30 years, you got 25-year-old kids, and now all of a sudden you back mad at your spouse because you like, dang, you ain't never did what I thought you was gonna do. Yeah. Like, that's a reality for a lot of people, and that's just something that we both went in knowing that wasn't gonna be our individual reality and not our together reality. So like, I feel like that's just what it got to be.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I feel like it can be more simple than what a lot of us make it, but definitely not marrying for the potential. Yeah. And sometimes you might need a little breakup situation to.
Yeah. Because someone could have the potential and they could become that, but it might just not be with you, you know?
Yeah,
or
exactly.
Someone could have the potential and they don't realize it for themselves. And that, I think, is more of what we mean when it's like, don't marry for potential. Yeah. It's like, because if that potential is never, like, brought to life, then what are you left with? You know, you're the one who had that expectation.
Yeah, and it's usually one over the other. Like, you probably are expecting potential from someone else, but you doing so much they're like, shoot, I'm good with him or her. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Like, I'm straight over here. But meanwhile, you get the short end of the stick because you decided that you were going to accept them and for where they were, and to their point in life, they're like, well, they're accepting me at this point. Like, I must be good enough here.
Yeah.
You know?
To their point.
I couldn't think of the word. I don't know what word I'm looking for.
But yeah, I mean, I think you guys get it. It's just, I mean, thankfully our potential was brought to life before we got married, or else I don't think we would have gotten married when we got married. It would have had to have been realized before.
Well, me personally, I don't think that I would be married to this point just because I think that if I wasn't married to Aaron, I just don't think that I would be married. I don't think getting a woman is hard, but I think that if you have a standard or if you have a meaning to marriage, it may or may not come true if it's not the right person. The right person you can think somebody the right person, like they can have all these things going on. It can be someone you really like or love, and it's still like that little thing. Yeah, you might be in relationships, but I feel like for me, where it was like, nah, whatever it is, she got that extra little. Like, I'm willing to do whatever with this girl, essentially. So I don't know. I think it's just that you have that for me. Mm-hmm. It doesn't. But it also goes into like if we didn't.
I know, if we didn't get married. What's the thing that you said we would tell them?
So we have like this little running joke. If we didn't get married to each other, but we got married to other people, and I don't know, 10 years or so down the line.
We're going to get so judged for this.
Yeah, we're going to get judged.
Oh, well.
Oh, well. Anyway. But it's a joke, right?
Yeah, it's a joke because it's not reality, you guys. So we're married now.
Don't castrate us. But it's really it's like a laughing but very serious.
Yeah. We're like, if we bumped into each other and like we saw each other across a restaurant with our significant others, and we just saw each other and we weren't in contact at that point, but then afterward we would have found each other's contact.
And been in contact after that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And would we have had an affair? We'll leave that up for...
Y'all tell us, because you about to judge us anyway. What do you think we would have done?
You know...
Your own imagination.
For your own interpretation.
But really the joke comes from... The joke is like developed from... Like over the years, no matter where we were in life, we always came back to each other. Whether we were in a relationship or not, like... Or just cause like we always found ourselves back to each other. So like that's really where the joke comes from. So
yeah. Also because we just have fire chemistry and
it's lit.
It's just fires all the time. So
yeah. So
anyway, this was fun.
I think this was good.
I feel like we needed to share this to give some type of foundation to the show, because we want you guys to also get to know us a lot, and that's something that we're excited to just share more of ourselves throughout all of these episodes.
Yeah. I think it'll be fun sharing who we are, more than just maybe what people see. I'm gonna just go ahead and wrap up here. We do hope you enjoyed this episode. This is episode number 3. We're just getting into the groove, so work with us here.
Yeah. And I was also gonna say, we think once a month we're gonna take questions, because we've been getting quite a few questions on like in the comments, and I just think it would be cool to give our take. Like Cameron said, we're not really looking for this to be super advicey or for us to be trying to tell everyone how to be in a relationship, because obviously every relationship is what you make of it, but
or even just how to live life in general. Like even when it comes to like marriage in general, business, it's like it's not an advice type of situation.
Yeah, but if you do have questions that you want us to weigh in on and give our opinions on different situations, then please just send us an email, or if you make a comment with a question, then we'll try to do that like once a month. It'll be
like the end of, it'll be an extra episode at the end of each month that is kind of like question based.
Yeah, like Q&A vibes.
Yeah. So if you have questions, you can ask them on our Instagram or write in the comments, or even send an email if you don't want it to be like a public situation.
Yeah, a DM, anything.
Yeah.
So just try to DM Sips of Success.
And we can see everything on there because it's regarded to this podcast.
Exactly.
So
aside from that, just some housekeeping. Please leave us a review on Spotify, on Apple Music, wherever you listen to this podcast. Even if you're watching on YouTube, it would be so helpful if you left a review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, just to help us grow and rank, because it just means a lot to us. So if you could do that, that would be amazing.
Yeah, we try to take this up, man. Just be honest. Like, we, want to do something. I think this would be fun for us. It's been fun so far. I think tapping into something that's just different. Definitely for me.
Yeah, definitely for you.
And it's different for you as well, but just in a different way.
Yeah.
For you, it's just like another thing to add on. But for me, I'm just trying to, I guess, give a little bit of who I am. And then also it's giving Erin the opportunity to show those who are already in support of her, like, who she is outside of, like, just the business part. But that's why we're trying to marry the two, relationships and business. And for us, marriage and business. But this is, if you're watching or you're listening, that you don't have to be married. You don't even have to be in a relationship. But it's just like our 2 cents on, and our experience on, like, to this point in life. So just kind of give this experience. And it's something I always tell Erin is, you have to be able to grab a hold of the season that you're in order to always succeed going forward. So it's like, you start somewhere and it seems very successful, and then you may get comfortable, you may get complacent, or you may just not understand where you are. But this is our opportunity to just always be, I guess, in the area of where we are, like accepting where we are and operating in the area of life that we're currently in.
Yeah.
Which I know that will help you. So
Yeah.
that part is for you.
Thanks, babe. I appreciate that. I mean, it's true.
So yeah, man. I hope y'all enjoyed this episode. This is episode number 3. You know, if you rock with me, then you rock with us. I really hope y'all enjoy. We'll see you next time.
Bye.